Welcome to Conspiracy Theories and Cover-Ups. I'm your host, Ben Carter, and in today's episode we delve into one of the most baffling mysteries of modern aviation history, the disappearance of Flight MH370. A plane that vanished without a trace, leaving the world searching for answers amid conflicting accounts and eerie silence. Prepare yourself for a journey into the heart of this unresolved enigma. Stay tuned. On March 8, 2014, the world watched in disbelief as Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, carrying 239 passengers and crew, disappeared from radar screens during a routine flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Despite intensive search efforts spanning continents and oceans, no definitive wreckage or conclusive evidence of its fate has been found. Over the years, this event has spawned a multitude of theories, from mechanical failure and pilot error to more sinister possibilities involving deliberate acts, covert military operations, or even extraterrestrial involvement. Today we open the door to the labyrinth of speculation that surrounds MH370, inviting you to consider the evidence and decide for yourself what might have transpired. The initial disappearance of MH370 was shrouded in confusion. Air traffic controllers lost contact with the aircraft shortly after takeoff, and a trail of inexplicable radar echoes hinted at a deliberate deviation from its planned route. As families awaited news with mounting anxiety and governments mobilized search teams, early media reports only deepened the mystery, with conflicting information and a lack of clear answers. In the ensuing months, official investigations uncovered fragments of satellite data and sporadic reports of debris washing ashore along distant coastlines, but these clues failed to form a coherent picture. The resulting silence from the depths of the Indian Ocean has only fueled public speculation, making MH370 a fertile ground for conspiracy theorists and independent researchers alike. In the years since the disappearance, various experts and amateur sleuths have pored over the scant evidence, scrutinizing everything from flight path anomalies to the psychological profile of the crew. Some suggest that the aircraft's sudden turn and subsequent descent were not the result of an uncontrollable mechanical failure, but a carefully orchestrated maneuver, possibly tied to hidden agendas or secret orders. Others have pointed to the possibility of onboard sabotage, where internal conflicts or covert operations might have led to its mysterious vanishing act. As more data emerges, and as new technological methods are applied to old evidence, the debate grows increasingly complex, with each theory challenging the next in a relentless quest for truth. What is most unsettling is the profound impact the disappearance of MH370 has had on our collective psyche. It is a modern mystery that blends the tragic with the inexplicable, leaving us to confront our deepest fears about safety, trust, and the unseen forces that might lurk behind even the most routine events. With each passing year, the enigma of MH370 not only casts a long shadow over modern aviation, but also stands as a stark reminder of how little we sometimes understand about the world we live in. In the wake of the MH370 disappearance, the global landscape was already a fertile ground for unanswered questions and distrust in official narratives. The early 2010s marked a time when rapid advancements in technology and global communication intersected with a heightened skepticism toward governments and large institutions. This period saw major geopolitical shifts, economic uncertainties, and an increasing reliance on digital information, a climate in which the unexplained disappearance of a modern airliner could easily become a catalyst for wild speculation. The incident struck at a time when trust in authorities was eroding, and citizens were more inclined than ever to question mainstream explanations. Historically, aviation disasters have often spurred a flurry of conspiracy theories, but MH370 resonated on a different level. Unlike many past tragedies that were eventually resolved through exhaustive investigations, MH370's case remained shrouded in ambiguity, leaving gaps in the official narrative that fueled further debate. The international nature of the flight, combined with the involvement of multiple governments and agencies, meant that any lack of transparency or conflicting reports was magnified by the media and the public. In an era when every development was broadcast live and scrutinized in real time, the slow pace of the investigation only deepened the mystery and left many feeling that something was being hidden from them. Culturally, the disappearance came at a time when conspiracy theories were becoming increasingly mainstream, bolstered by the proliferation of online communities dedicated to questioning established narratives. Social media platforms enabled rapid dissemination of alternative viewpoints and speculative theories, creating an echo chamber where every new detail, no matter how minute, was dissected and debated. This environment not only amplified public interest, but also provided a platform for voices that questioned everything from the official search procedures to the possibility of a covert military operation. Politically, the MH370 incident unfolded against a backdrop of shifting international alliances and rising tensions in the Asia-Pacific region. With governments under increasing pressure to maintain stability and transparency, any perceived mishandling of the investigation risked further eroding public confidence. The disappearance raised sensitive questions about the limits of national jurisdiction and the challenges inherent in multinational cooperation during a crisis. These factors combined to create a charged atmosphere where every new piece of evidence was viewed not just as a clue to a tragic event, but as a potential indicator of deeper, more systemic failures. Within this context, the conspiracy theories surrounding MH370 began to take shape. They were not born in a vacuum, but emerged from a complex interplay of historical precedent, political distrust, and cultural shifts that made the public ripe for skepticism. As experts, media outlets, and independent researchers offered differing interpretations of the scant evidence, a narrative began to coalesce, a narrative that questioned whether what was presented to the world was the whole truth. The backdrop of global uncertainty and the rapid evolution of digital media set the stage for a controversy that would captivate audiences around the globe and challenge our understanding of modern aviation and governmental accountability. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence comes from the satellite data provided by Inmarsat. Analysts have pointed to the handshake signals, the automated pings sent between the aircraft and the satellite network as they traced a mysterious southern arc over the Indian Ocean. These signals, meticulously reconstructed by independent researchers and later incorporated into official reports, suggest that after the last contact, the plane deviated from its planned course and continued flying for several hours. The precise calculations derived from this data have become a cornerstone for many of the theories surrounding MH370, raising questions about whether the flight path was accidentally altered or deliberately manipulated. In addition to satellite signals, radar data from military and civilian sources also plays a crucial role in the discussion. Early in the investigation, some radar echoes indicated a possible course deviation, though the quality and consistency of these recordings have been a subject of debate. Several independent analysts have argued that these radar tracks, when correlated with satellite data, hint at a deliberate maneuver rather than a random malfunction. Such interpretations have led to claims that someone on board might have taken control of the aircraft, steering it into a remote expanse of the ocean. Eyewitness testimonies, while sporadic and sometimes contradictory, add another layer of intrigue. A handful of reports from ships and islands in the vicinity describe unusual disturbances in the atmosphere, flashes of light and sudden, inexplicable silence, that coincided with the estimated timeline of MH370's disappearance. Although these accounts lack the precision of electronic data, they have nonetheless fueled speculation about extraordinary events occurring in the final hours of the flight. Some researchers have even pointed to anomalies in the behavior of other aircraft in the area, suggesting that a broader, perhaps covert operation might have influenced air traffic that night. Further fueling the debate are analyses of recovered debris, some of which has been identified as likely originating from MH370. Although the physical evidence remains limited, forensic examinations have provided tantalizing clues. Certain materials exhibit burn patterns or structural damages that defy standard explanations for an airplane breakup over open water. These findings have led some experts to propose that an onboard event, such as a fire or a deliberate act of sabotage, might have contributed to the aircraft's mysterious fate. Complicating matters, a number of leaked documents and unofficial reports have surfaced over the years, hinting at internal communications within aviation authorities that seem to downplay or obscure key details of the investigation. While the authenticity of these documents has been questioned, they contribute to a growing narrative that suggests vital evidence might have been withheld or altered. This has, in turn, sparked debates among conspiracy theorists and independent investigators, each citing these sources as proof that the official account may be incomplete. Collectively, these elements, the Inmarsat data, radar echoes, eyewitness reports, forensic analysis, and leaked internal communications, form the crux of the evidence that many believe supports a theory of deliberate intervention. Each piece, when considered alone, leaves room for multiple interpretations. Yet together, they weave a complex tapestry of clues that continues to drive public debate and relentless scrutiny over what truly happened to Flight MH370. Critics of the MH370 theories argue that the available data, though intriguing, is too ambiguous to support any definitive conclusion about deliberate intervention. Many seasoned aviation experts emphasize that anomalies in satellite and radar data can often be attributed to technical errors, limitations in the instruments, or misinterpretations under challenging conditions. They contend that the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean presents an immense margin of error, and that the seemingly deliberate maneuvers inferred by some analysts might simply be statistical coincidences amplified by hindsight. Skeptics point to the inherent uncertainties in reconstructing the flight path from fragmented signals and the difficulties in distinguishing between true anomalies and background noise. Some experts note that natural phenomena, such as atmospheric interference and signal dropouts, can produce readings that appear abnormal when, in reality, they fall well within the expected range of variability for such data. They caution against drawing sweeping conclusions based on a handful of ambiguous observations, arguing that the complexity of modern aviation technology demands a more rigorous, evidence-based approach. Further fueling the debate, independent investigators have raised concerns about the reliability of eyewitness accounts and the interpretation of recovered debris. Detractors stress that human memory is notoriously fallible, particularly under stress, and that many of the reported sightings might be misperceptions or even fabrications born of collective anxiety. They also highlight that debris analysis, while valuable, often suffers from limited sample sizes and the challenge of definitively linking fragments to the missing aircraft. These critics maintain that without a clear chain of evidence, alternative explanations, ranging from unfortunate mechanical failure to simple human error, remain more plausible than elaborate conspiracies. Some officials within the aviation community have also questioned the motives of those promoting the more sensational theories. They argue that conspiracy theories can be self-perpetuating, with each new piece of circumstantial evidence feeding into an ever-growing narrative that seeks to explain away inconvenient gaps in the official investigation. This perspective suggests that rather than uncovering hidden truths, some of the alternative viewpoints may actually cloud the issue further, distracting from the painstaking, albeit imperfect, work of formal inquiry. They urge the public to consider the possibility that in a case as complex and unprecedented as MH370, the absence of conclusive evidence is not necessarily proof of deliberate action, but could instead be an artifact of the challenges inherent in modern air travel. Moreover, academic experts in fields ranging from aerospace engineering to meteorology have voiced skepticism over the notion that a covert operation could have so completely altered the flight's course without leaving a more substantial trace. They emphasize that the physics of flight and the constraints of modern aircraft design make such extraordinary maneuvers highly unlikely, even if not entirely impossible under controlled circumstances. These voices serve as a reminder that while the theories capturing public imagination are compelling, they often rest on speculative interpretations of incomplete data. In this context, the ongoing debate remains a vivid testament to the tension between official investigations and independent inquiry, a divide fueled by uncertainty, technical limitations, and the enduring human desire to uncover hidden truths. The MH370 disappearance has far-reaching implications that extend well beyond the technical intricacies of aviation or forensic investigation. It speaks to a deep cultural undercurrent of distrust and a yearning for answers in an increasingly complex world. This theory, with its layers of uncertainty and unanswered questions, resonates with people because it challenges our understanding of safety, authority, and the reliability of modern technology. In an era where information is both abundant and fragmented, the unresolved fate of a modern airliner becomes a symbol of our collective vulnerability to systems we can no longer fully control or comprehend. At its core, the theory taps into a cultural narrative that questions the infallibility of established institutions. For many, MH370 is not just an isolated event. It is emblematic of a broader skepticism toward governmental transparency and the integrity of international agencies tasked with protecting public welfare. The fact that such an expensive and extensive search yielded inconclusive results only intensifies this sentiment, fostering an environment in which alternative explanations, however outlandish, find fertile ground. This persistent ambiguity invites people to imagine that powerful forces might be at work behind the scenes, subtly manipulating events in ways that serve hidden agendas. Socially, the MH370 case has become a rallying point for those who feel disenfranchised or marginalized by an opaque system. The theory has taken on a life of its own on social media and in online forums, where communities of amateur investigators and conspiracy theorists collaborate to piece together what they believe is a suppressed truth. In these digital spaces, the mystery becomes a shared quest, one that empowers individuals to question narratives handed down by authorities and to seek out their own interpretations of the available data. This participatory culture not only fuels further speculation, but also reinforces a collective identity among those who feel that mainstream explanations are inadequate. Politically, the unresolved nature of MH370 has ramifications that reach into the corridors of power. It serves as a potent reminder of the challenges governments face in the age of globalization, where incidents transcend national borders and require coordinated international responses. The case has prompted debates over resource allocation, intergovernmental communication, and the ethical responsibilities of those in charge of public safety. The persistent mystery has, in some instances, eroded public confidence in state institutions, fueling calls for reform and greater accountability in how such investigations are conducted and communicated. On a psychological level, the MH370 mystery touches on our primal fears. The fear of the unknown, of being powerless in the face of vast, unyielding systems, and of losing loved ones without a trace. The theory's endurance lies in its ability to evoke these deep-seated anxieties, making it not merely a case study in modern tragedy, but a mirror reflecting our own uncertainties about life in an increasingly unpredictable world. It reminds us that, despite technological advances, there remain realms of mystery that defy logical explanation and challenge our belief in order and reason. Ultimately, the broader implications of the MH370 conspiracy theory reveal much about contemporary society, a landscape where distrust, ambiguity, and the allure of hidden truths converge to shape our collective narrative. Some of the most unconventional theories surrounding the disappearance of MH370 venture far beyond standard aviation or forensic explanations, delving into realms that blur the lines between science fiction and speculative reality. One fringe angle posits that the aircraft may have inadvertently crossed into a parallel dimension, a phenomenon some researchers suggest could explain the sudden loss of contact and the elusive nature of the wreckage. Proponents of this idea argue that under rare atmospheric and quantum conditions, an object could slip into an alternate reality, effectively vanishing from our observable universe. While this theory lacks traditional empirical support, it has captivated the imaginations of those who believe that modern technology might one day unravel mysteries at the quantum level. Another provocative perspective involves the concept of advanced, covert military technology. Some theorists speculate that MH370 might have been intercepted by a classified weapons system designed to disable or even redirect aircraft without leaving conventional traces. In this view, the disappearance is not the result of a catastrophic failure, but a deliberate act executed under the shroud of secrecy. Supporters of this theory often point to anomalies in flight path data and the sheer scale of international military cooperation that characterizes modern aerial operations. They argue that if such technology exists, it would be shrouded in layers of classified research and covert operations, thereby explaining the lack of public evidence and the inconsistent narratives emerging from various governments. A more esoteric line of thought suggests that MH370's vanishing might be linked to a geomagnetic anomaly or a sudden disturbance in the Earth's magnetic field. This idea speculates that a rare natural event could have disrupted the plane's instruments and navigational systems, propelling it into an area of the ocean where the usual signals of distress were absorbed or distorted. Advocates of this theory draw on studies of natural magnetic phenomena, arguing that if such disturbances occur, they could have unpredictable and far-reaching consequences for modern technology. Though this perspective strays into the realm of geophysical oddities, it is bolstered by occasional reports of unusual magnetic readings in the vicinity of the flight's last known position. There is also a fringe notion that intertwines elements of conspiracy with metaphysical inquiry. Some theorists propose that MH370's disappearance was orchestrated as part of a larger covert operation involving transnational power structures. This perspective suggests that the event was manipulated to serve as a diversion or a test for future covert operations, where the chaos following the disappearance would allow certain global entities to implement broader, more secretive agendas. These ideas often reference a blend of historical patterns in governmental secrecy, combined with emerging patterns in global surveillance and the control of information, to argue that the disappearance was less an accident and more a calculated move in a grand chess game. While these speculative theories diverge dramatically from mainstream explanations, they contribute a vibrant layer of intrigue to the mystery. Each unconventional angle challenges us to rethink the limits of what we consider possible, urging us to consider whether the disappearance of MH370 might involve factors that lie well beyond the scope of conventional science and policy. The disappearance of MH370 remains one of modern history's most perplexing enigmas, a mystery that has woven itself into the fabric of global discourse. Throughout this episode, we have examined the complex layers that contribute to the enduring debate, from the initial satellite data and radar anomalies that set the stage for wild speculation, to the diverse eyewitness accounts and unconventional theories that push the boundaries of conventional understanding. Each piece of evidence and every hypothesis has added to the mosaic of this modern mystery, inviting us to question how much we truly know about the systems we rely on. The investigation into MH370 revealed a multitude of unanswered questions. Official reports pointed to technical failures and unanticipated navigational deviations, yet these explanations left gaps that have since been filled with a spectrum of alternative theories, from the possibility of covert military intervention to more outlandish ideas involving parallel dimensions and geomagnetic anomalies. What is particularly striking is how the case taps into a deep-seated skepticism toward authoritative narratives, resonating with a public increasingly attuned to the complexities of a globalized world. The interplay between hard data and speculative interpretation reflects our collective desire to find meaning in chaos and to believe that every unexplained event is part of a larger, hidden story. Culturally, MH370 has become more than just an aviation disaster. It is a symbol of uncertainty in an age where technology and transparency are both celebrated and questioned. The disappearance has spurred a vigorous dialogue among experts, independent researchers, and the broader public. Its impact is evident in how it has galvanized communities, sparked relentless investigative journalism, and even influenced policy debates on air safety and international cooperation. For many, the case is emblematic of a world where even the most sophisticated systems can falter without warning, leaving us to confront the uncomfortable truth that some events might be beyond our control or complete understanding. The speculative angles, whether it is the notion of a covert military operation, the theory of a quantum or dimensional anomaly, or even the idea of a calculated diversion orchestrated by unseen global powers, serve to illustrate the vast range of perspectives that have emerged. These ideas, while controversial, underscore a broader cultural and psychological phenomenon, our need to construct narratives that explain the unexplainable. In doing so, they reflect our enduring quest for certainty in an uncertain world, even if the final picture remains elusive. Ultimately, the mystery of MH370 is a testament to both human ingenuity and our vulnerability in the face of complex, interwoven global systems. It challenges us to balance the desire for clear answers with the recognition that some phenomena may forever reside in a realm of ambiguity. As we conclude this exploration, we are reminded that the truth, however multifaceted and elusive, continues to be pursued by investigators, researchers, and a curious public determined to uncover what lies hidden in the depths of our modern world. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Ben Carter, and this has been another episode of Conspiracy Theories and Cover-Ups. Don't forget to follow and subscribe on your favourite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Share this episode with your fellow conspiracy enthusiasts and be sure to connect with us on social media for behind-the-scenes content and exclusive updates. Join us next time for another exciting journey into the world of conspiracy theories. See you then. If you found this episode fascinating and want to dive even deeper into the world of conspiracy theories, consider subscribing for exclusive access to the material they don't want you to hear. As a subscriber, you'll get banned episodes deemed too controversial for mainstream platforms, members-only bonus episodes, not available anywhere else, extended director's cut versions of your favourite episodes, early access to new content before it's released to the public, and much more. Thank you for your support. The link is in the description below. Join now.